Hey everybody, welcome to Cali Girl Blog Talk. I'm Callie. Thank you for joining me. And today I will be reviewing Growing Up Hip Hop Season 7, Episode 1, Parents Just Don't Understand. So we start off this season with Lil Twist as the narrator. Last season it was Brianna. Now Lil Twist is narrating. And we are at the hospital with Pepa, Egypt, and Sam. Egypt is pregnant. Okay, so she's getting her little sonogram, whatever have you done. And the three of them are very excited. At this time in filming, she's 8 weeks along. Pepa is refusing the title of grandma. She said other people in the family got that name. Her name will be Glamma because she is still glamorous. Okay, girl. Next, we see Lazy Bone. He gets in the car. He FaceTimes Treach. He starts explaining to Treach that he had to go missing for a little while because he had to go get his daughter. He said his daughter's mother is in a toxic relationship and he couldn't have his daughter staying, and that's why he had to go get her. I don't blame you. That was a good move. Anyway, Treach moves on and lets him know that Egypt is pregnant. And while he's accepting that he's going to be a grandfather, at the same time, he said he's been on edge because he doesn't even like the fact that he can't even talk to Egypt without Sam being around. Every time they talking, he said Egypt has him on speakerphone. He said so he fell back. He stopped calling so much, and he said Egypt doesn't really know why at this point. Lazy Bone then starts to talk about in celebration of 50 years in hip hop, or the hip hop's 50th anniversary. They want to do something, have a production. Basically, they're going to put on a show where everybody's going to be involved, them as well as, you know, the kids who have grown up in hip hop. They're going to be in the background as mentors, and then they're going to let the kids put on a show. Lazy Bone said its intention to do this tribute as a nod to hip hop and have the younger generation give thanks to the forefathers of hip hop, which is cool. It'll be interesting, okay? And I'm not talking about the show now, I'm talking about the state of hip hop, because hip hop is so different than it was 50 years ago, the current state of it. So who's to even know what it's going to be like 20 years from now, 10 years from now, let alone 50 years from now? Child, will we be here 50 years from now? I don't know. Anyway, next we move on to Atlanta, and we are with Angela at her house. And Cree stops by and she brings Angela a gift, okay? And Angela takes it out and it's a microphone. Angela was like, what am I supposed to do with this? Cree was like, you said you wanted to sing. Angela was like, no, I didn't say I want to sing. I said I just want to do one fun song. She said, you know, she's always had a passion for music and says she's doing everything else that she's ever wanted to do. So why not do this? She's playing around on the mic as though, you know, trying to hit a note or what have you. Cree was like, okay, I think you should get some singing lessons. And Angela said, although this will be for fun, she wants to know what it takes to really be able to do it. Singing lessons are great. And that's good advice, because even if you know how to sing, it does not mean that you know how to breathe and sing on the breath. So anyway, so I guess this is going to be her storyline for this season. Her in the studio. All right. Back in Vegas, we are now at Egypt and Sam's home, and Pepa stops by with a big picture of herself. I guess this is her housewarming gift. All right. She suggested that they put the picture of her over the baby's crib. That would be a no. Pepa surprises Egypt and says that she got her a space to be able to perform on the tour with her. So Pepa is going on a mixtape tour and Egypt is going to join her. Sam, steadily looking to get in where he fits in, says, wait a minute, we are going on the tour, or her? She's going on the tour. Pepa was like, it's only going to be Egypt. Egypt was like, well, wait a minute, why can't he come? Pepa was like, Egypt, this is about, you know, your album, even though the two of you worked on it together. This is about you. You're going to have your own stage, your own platform. You're not just opening up. You're going to be an act among the rest of the performers. Sam was like, let you guys go ahead and talk. Let me step away. I'm finna go get a refill. In her confessional, Pepa said, Sam is not involved with the tour. Okay, he's going to support from the back. She said in the past, Egypt has accused her of not helping her with her career. So to get this done, she had to call in some favors. Egypt is very excited. I mean, she's actually going on tour, not just, you know, putting on a show and then going back home. She's getting ready to go on the tour. I don't know how many cities or states they're going on, but that's good for her. Over in NYC, we see Tanice. She just got in the car. She's FaceTiming JoJo. They're preparing for their baby's birthday party. Their baby Joey. He's turning 1, so they're having a birthday party for him. JoJo said, what about your father? Is he coming to the party? And she said, I don't know. He hasn't shown up since after the baby was born. I don't think that he's going to show up to the party because he hasn't even RSVP'd. In her confessional, she said her father goes by the name of Buck in the industry. He's known by a lot of people. He's worked with a lot of different labels, Sony, Epic, Virgin Records, etc., as well as various artists. He works really behind the scenes. She didn't really state what he does as far as a job title, but she said that's her dad and he's a pretty big deal. However, it's been a whole year and her dad hasn't even seen her son. He hasn't taken the time to meet him. And she believes he's doing it on purpose. He's intentionally not coming to see his grandson. Interesting. She told JoJo, you know what, though he hasn't RSVP'd, he might feel that he doesn't have to do that. And if he does show up to the party, let me deal with him, okay? And JoJo said, you can deal with him because me and him don't deal with each other regardless. Even more interesting. There's some history with that one. JoJo continued and said, I don't speak to him and your dad don't speak to me. So there's no reason for me to deal with him. He said, so if your father doesn't show up, who cares? If he does show up, who cares? Well, if he doesn't show up, she cares. And if he does show up, his daughter cares. That's your perspective. You don't care, but she obviously does. In his confessional, JoJo said, I don't really know what's going on with Buck. He's trying to be a bigger person, however you want to phrase it, and put things to the side. And he's willing to do that for the sake of his wife and his kids, but he doesn't like to see Tanice hurt. So we don't really know what the history is with that. Maybe more of that will come out as the season goes. Back in LA, we see Eric, Eazy-E's son, and we see Devin. He's back. He's Casey Haley's son, Casey from Jodeci, right? And they're meeting up at a dispensary with Sam. Eric, he has his own dispensary. He's in the cannabis business. And so he said he wanted to do some business with one of the buyers, which is who he's talking to at this time while they're waiting for Sam. Sam gets there. He fills them in on, I just got married, but now there's another addition to the family, got a baby on the way. So they're congratulating him on that. And right in the middle of congratulations, or right after anyway, Eazy brought up another point of reality and says, so what's up with that court situation? Sam said he got hit with 4 felonies, okay, for assault with a deadly weapon. Woo! Not 1 felony, but 4. Eric said it's kind of challenging to be having a baby when you could be facing jail time, And in his confessional, Sam said he had a court date scheduled in August so he could finally figure out what the verdict was. But his case got pushed back. With the baby coming, of course, and he also has his other son, he's concerned that the case will keep getting pushed back and he doesn't want that to happen, which I'm sure he doesn't, because I'm sure he wants to be there for the birth of his child. He told Eric that he'd been laying low. He'd been staying out the way. He said he got to go meet with Treach. Eric said that was about to be my next question. What does daddy think about you becoming a new daddy? Sam said he's excited, but it's going to be an interesting conversation. Yeah, probably so. Back in Atlanta, we see Cree and Angela. They are now with Mama Jan, the vocal coach. And Mama Jan has worked with some of everybody. Angela named off Usher as well as other artists. So with her notepad, Mama Jan sits down and says, okay, so tell me what you're doing here. Angela said, I have a passion for music. I come from a music background. I've always had it around me all my life. I've been at tons of shows. So, it's something that I'm very familiar with. That being said, she wants to do vocal training. Okay. She wants to sound better. She said, when I sing in the shower, when I'm in the car, I can actually hit the notes. Mama Jan said, okay, but I don't think you would be here if you were just planning on singing in the shower. So what are your goals, girl? What is your objective? She said, I want to create a successful song. So Mama Jan takes her to the piano room and she starts going over some vocalizing lessons with her, like seeing if she's tone deaf. She starts playing keys on the piano and seeing if Angela can match those notes. Child, I don't know if she's tone deaf, but she's struggling trying to find those notes. I'll say that. Mama Jan said, okay, so from a pitch and a tonal reference, you just really don't know what you're doing. Doesn't mean that she can't learn it. She just doesn't have the experience with it yet. So child, we'll see. And I've had 5 vocal coaches in my lifetime. Angela walked in there talking about, this is fun. I said, girl, it's just your first day. Vocal training is not fun, okay? It's work. And like she said in her confessional, she learned that she's going to need some real hardcore development. Yeah, I'd say. Back in New York with Tanice and JoJo, they are at their baby's party. And he is a cutie, the baby, I mean. Yes, he is. And none other than her dad, Buck, shows up. And he comes walking in holding her daughter. Okay, she spots him right away, the daughter. Tanice is very shocked. You can see it all over her face. And in her confessional, she said just that. I'm shocked. There's my dad. So she says, I'm glad you made it. Did you see Joey? Talking about the baby. And he walks over to somebody that's holding the baby. And in her confessional, she said, I'm glad he made it. But he walked in and made it all about him. So he's holding the baby, getting to know him, play with or whatever. Tanice was like, let's go talk. And he was like, well, wait a minute. I want to spend a little time with my grandson for a minute. And then he said, don't spoil our moment. She told somebody, can y'all take my baby? Take him to go get some food while I talk to him. Her father starts walking off with the baby and says, I don't want to chat with you today. Chat with me on another day. I want to enjoy my grandson today. Okay. Now, Tanice, just watching this little exchange right here, I will say that his attitude and his personality is a little bit off-putting. He steps outside. Okay. And he's telling somebody, I don't know who the lady is that he's talking to, but he's like, I don't want to be bothered. I'm not having no chat today. I don't want to be bothered with the Hayes family today. And I don't want to be bothered with the Simmons family today. Okay. Yeah. When I said it was a little off-putting, no, you're very off-putting, sir. He said, let's make this chat thing. Let's make this happen on another day. Okay. Because I'm in grandpa mode. So I don't understand. What I don't understand is why are you walking into this baby's party and you automatically defensive? Tanice is still trying to talk to him. Okay. He's like, I'm in grandpa mode. What, you want dad here? You want dad here? She said, I'm just trying to say that I don't want you to ever feel like you're not a part of things, right? He said, why are you trying to keep getting me to entertain a conversation that I don't want to have? And I'm like, this is your daughter. Why are you talking to her like she is your headache of a girlfriend or something? Feeling defeated, she was like, okay. She held her hands up. Okay, I don't want to push you. He was like, okay, don't push me. She said, I just wanted to make sure I gave you a conversation. He walking away. Okay, you wanted to give me a conversation, but you wanted to be difficult at the same time. No, the word difficult is written all over you. Your personality, your communication, your demeanor, your body language is hella whack. In his confessional, JoJo said, I really don't like the fact that they don't have a relationship right now. Seeing Tanice hurt is one of the worst things, right? He said, but I can't fix it because what they got going on is deeper than what I can get involved with. Okay, that's something between them that they have to work out. So her father steps out. Okay, I don't know if he's smoking a blunt. I don't know what he's doing, but he steps out and he's relaxing and releasing. Okay, Tanice comes out. He's like, so you wanted to have a conversation, right? He said, you wanted to have a conversation with me, but let me ask you, don't you think it's disrespectful that I walk up in your spot and your so-called husband should have came up and spoke to me? The thing is, sir, I don't know where you grew up, but where I grew up, when you enter a room, you speak. Ain't nobody waiting on you to get there. The world don't stop because you walk in the room. Who are you? You walk in and you greet them. What is your problem? And then you're going to be disrespectful and say her so-called husband. Child, please. You not taking time to come see your grandkids when you obviously could have. Some might call you the so-called grandfather. It'd be the audacity and entitlement of people for me. But let me stop right here and pause on that, because I don't know what has gone down between Tanice and her father, as well as Tanice's father and JoJo. So let me keep watching. Like I said, as the season goes on, maybe we'll get a little bit more history on what really is the issue. He said, I don't care what you might think or how you might feel. When I walk in the room, you speak because that's your husband and I'm your father. He said, you got two men you got to figure out how to love. She said, did you speak to him? He said, you got a husband and a father, but you only get one of me. She said, the focus is that you're here for your grandkids. He said, yeah, I am his son. She said, you know what? Me and you are not on the same page for whatever reason. And he said, yeah, we not. She said, but why do you think I always have to hunt you down? He said, you don't have to hunt me down. There you go. And he gets up and starts walking away. I don't know why JoJo didn't speak to you, but I'll say I'm not surprised. You're disrespectful. And I just seen you. Like I said, he's walking away, and she said, we're not going to come to a resolution this way. He said, I just don't want to keep going on, okay? Because this conversation at this point, it ain't going nowhere. He said, this is just you getting in your feelings. She said, no, my issue is you say one thing and then you do something else. He said, anything I got to say, I'm going to tell you. And she said, I know you. He said, that's the problem. You don't know me. Walking away. She said, I do know you. Well, just know that you did wrong. And she said, you made a comment that Joey is not your grandson. Getting ready to deny it. He said, I didn't. And then he said, you know what? No, y'all listen, this is y'all problem. This is y'all problem right here. So he was getting ready to lie and say, I didn't say that, but instead he deflected and put it right back on them and said, y'all the one with the problem. Now he raising his voice. If he wasn't my grandson, I wouldn't have been here. I could have went somewhere else. I could have been on a flight. She said, instead of being defensive, he keep cutting her off. Listen to me. Listen to me. She said, I know my father very well. He said, you don't know me because you don't know if I'm joking or if I'm serious. Child, please, why would you joke about something like that? In her confessional, she said, how is it that I'm telling you to your face that you said that Joey was not your grandson and you gonna look me in my face and not even apologize? He said, I'm done because you know what? You're not listening. You just hear what you want to hear. Getting into his binge, child, he was like, bye. This finna be my last conversation. She was like, I don't know what to say to you at this point. I'm like, is he acting a fool because he on camera and he got put on the spot and that's why he walked in automatically defensive because he knew that it was possibly going to be a mess and a little bit of tension. But then I can't really blame it on the camera because his personality seems pretty genuine. Like this is just him 24 and some more. He gets in the car and he bounces. And she said, I'm not chasing that man around. And I'm like, child, he's problematic, honey. Next, we see Sam and Treach. Okay, they meet up. In his confessional, Treach said, yeah, I asked to meet up with Sam because I got a grandbaby coming. And the big question is, what are you going to do to take care of this baby? How are you going to do this? He said, I asked you here, Sam, because we've talked about a lot of different things, a lot of different scenarios, but this one is different because now we got a baby on the way. So it's a whole different concern for me now. He said, you know, I never got in the middle of you in Egypt. You know, you guys taking it a step further, things like that. I am not in the middle of that as long as you keep her safe and everything else. However, the thing is, how many kids you got? Sam said 2. Treach said, yeah, 2 and 1 on the way. Treach said, so that's 3. This is a whole nother level of grown man. Treach said, so now that's 3. And this is a whole nother level of being a grown man. And because I'm concerned, I got to put my concerns out there. Now, I've seen in the past when you in Egypt had to stay with Pepa for a time. He said, and I don't think that's going to happen again. Like, I don't think Pepa's going to create another situation where she's going to be like, hey, come stay at my house. Okay, you guys can come stay here, you and all the babies. He said, but in my house, it would be like, oh, okay, yeah, Egypt, you can come stay here, you and the kids. But you, Sam, a grown man, you can't come live in my house, okay? You're going to have another situation and another place to stay because ain't no grown man living with me and my wife in my house. He said, this is very serious, okay? You young and you got kids. And I'm trying to get this across to you, okay? Trying to see if you really get it. He said, because honestly, at one time I was young and dumb too, as we all were. He said, and Sam, you need to understand that there's no one man who's done everything by himself. And that's the thing. You're trying to run everything yourself. For example, in the middle of running, you ran into that situation with the police and you could have died that night and my daughter could have got seriously hurt. You need to be there for your wife. And what Egypt is going to need, besides her mama and besides her friend who has kids, she's going to need knowledge. She needs to talk to somebody that's in her age range that she feels comfortable talking to regarding this process that she's going through. He said, for example, TT, she just recently had a baby, but she needs to be around more people and get more information besides getting the knowledge from you, Sam, who really don't know what to tell himself to do. How you gonna tell her what to do? Child. He said, because you don't have all the answers. I don't even have all the answers. He said, I don't be in Egypt's ear about you. He said, I've been rolling with you from the beginning. He said, there's people in the family, you might not like them, whatever. You don't have to like them, but you need to leave all that stuff that happened in the past. You need to leave that in the past. I'm assuming he's still talking about the TT situation from seasons ago. He said, you have to know Egypt is your ride or die, and it might be to a fault. Yeah, hers. And as Treach continued, he said, because she will follow you right off of a cliff. Good gracious. He said, so my concern is, what are your plans? How are you going to take care of the situation? How are you going to take care of Egypt and the baby on the way? Sam said, that's a good question. Do you have a good answer? He continued and said, I've been looking into a lot of things. Have they been looking back at you? He continued and said, over the years, you've dropped a lot of jewels, hence why they're in a jewelry store. Okay, Treach. He said, although you've dropped a lot of jewels on me, I want you to know that I'm not just dependent on the music, although music is something that I will continue to do. Treach said, dreams don't pay bills. No, they don't. However, what dreams will do if you don't take action is keep you in La La Land. Sam said, I got another fight coming up. Treach said, is it paying though? Sam said, no. For the first fight, Treach said, this is what I'm talking about. This is what we talking about right here. He said, I know when you're building a foundation, everything is not going to be big bags from the beginning. All right. I've been through that, but y'all finna go through some lumps. He said, and you'll get help, from time to time, but can't nobody take care of a grown man, his daughter, and all your kids and your situations. He said, I always told you that you're talented, but if you're going to be talented and make moves, you also got to have some type of intelligence. He said, you're not a dummy, but you got to have different options set up because everything is not going to be a success. It's going to be hit or miss. He said, you know how much time you got before that baby is here? He said, because that baby better not come here before your plans are in order. Sam looking like he thinking hard, talking about, no, it won't. Treach said, okay, well, I'm good. Stood up and said, I'm out. Walked out with his friend talking about they finna go to another jewelry store while Sam sat there and shook his soda as though he was trying to get the ice to get it colder, which I understand because I'm sure he was sweating. He stands up and takes the mic pack off. Okay, he said, the scene is over. I'm done filming. In his confessional, he said, Treach is my father-in-law and will always be my father-in-law. And then makes a promise about the future and says, you'll see what I pull off. You'll see the money. And with that, I'll say, I wish y'all the best. That's where the episode ends. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell button. Until next time, you all take care. Peace.